For all the technology and destructive power modern militaries wield, there remain fortresses, walls, and defensive systems from the ancient world that would still give us pause today. Nuclear weapons and airstrikes may level cities, but when considering what it would take to capture or breach some of these sites directly, the truth is humbling. Many of these defences are still beyond reach. They were built with such mastery of terrain, material and psychology that even 21st century engineering struggles to answer how to overcome them without resorting to total annihilation. This is not simply about crumbling ruins. It is about timeless designs that still baffle engineers, military tacticians and historians alike. Let's walk through 9 defences that, if we faced them even now, would leave us scratching our heads. Ancient engineers knew how to master terrain before walls even mattered. When studying ancient defences, it becomes clear that the most brilliant minds knew one truth: nature itself was the first wall. Consider Masada in modern Israel. This Herodian fortress sat on top of an isolated plateau rising more than 1,000 feet above the desert floor. The steep cliffs made any assault almost impossible. Roman legions under Flavius Silva eventually built a massive earthen ramp just to reach the walls, but that effort required months of grueling labour, and even today no engineer would look at Masada and think it could be taken quickly. The defenders simply had to hold water and food, and the mountain did the rest. Or take Petra in Jordan, carved directly into sandstone cliffs and accessible only by the Sikh, a narrow gorge winding for over a kilometre. An invading army couldn't march in strength because the path was too tight. A handful of defenders could cut down thousands in that bottleneck. The city itself was hidden and protected by natural barriers, a design that modern militaries would still find maddening. Terrain mastery was not accidental. It was deliberate, and it remains one of the greatest barriers that no tank or drone can easily overcome. Ancient defences went beyond walls and into psychological warfare. When we think of defences, we picture stone battlements and fortified gates, but some of the most impenetrable ancient defences relied on tactics designed to attack the mind as much as the body. Consider Greek fire, the terrifying Byzantine weapon launched from ships and walls. It clung to surfaces, burned on water, and could not be extinguished easily. Even today, the exact formula remains a mystery. Its defensive value was incalculable. It broke the will of enemies before they even touched the walls of Constantinople. Another example is the elaborate tunnel and counter-tunnel systems used by defenders in the Middle East and Asia. Attackers might attempt to dig under walls, only to find themselves facing collapsing earth, smoke, or defenders emerging from hidden passageways. The unpredictability of such measures created hesitation, slowed sieges, and bought defenders precious time. The genius of these defences was that they did not rely on brute strength alone. They leveraged fear, uncertainty, and the exhaustion of supply lines to repel forces much stronger than themselves. Some walls are still engineering puzzles, even with modern tools. Take the Great Wall of China. Spanning thousands of miles, its scale alone makes the idea of breaching it laughable. But what baffles engineers even more is the binding material used in many Ming Dynasty sections. Sticky rice mortar, a combination of lime and glutinous rice, created a bond so durable that even modern attempts to dismantle sections with machinery often fail. The rice-lime compound resists water infiltration and seismic shock better than many modern concretes. To physically punch through with contemporary equipment would take immense resources for a relatively small breach, or consider the massive stone walls of Sacsayhuaman in Peru. Built by the Inca, the interlocking stones, some weighing more than 100 tons, were fitted with such precision that not even a sheet of paper can slide between them. No mortar was used. Despite earthquakes and centuries of erosion, the walls remain standing. To this day, archaeologists debate exactly how the stones were cut, moved and set in place. From a military standpoint, these walls remain terrifying. You cannot burn them, cannot collapse them with simple explosives, and cannot scale them without being exposed. Let's not forget the Theodosian walls of Constantinople. For 1,000 years they protected the city from armies ranging from Huns to Crusaders. Only with the advent of massive gunpowder cannons did they finally fall in 1453. Yet if one studies their design today, double and even triple walls with a moat in front, the conclusion is, well, rather sobering. To breach such a system would still require prolonged, costly bombardment and huge logistical support. In fact, when NATO planners looked at them during the Cold War, some argued that even modern armour would face a nightmare scenario, trying to force its way through. Then there are Japan's castles, with their steep stone bases and complex maze-like entrances. Osaka Castle is a prime example. Attackers would face multiple gates, each angled to expose their flanks to defenders above, while being unable to move siege engines efficiently across the rising stone platforms. These defences weren't just walls, they were layered puzzles designed to break an enemy's momentum at every turn. The modern dilemma explains why these defences still hold. The truth is, most of these sites could technically be obliterated with modern high explosives or airstrikes, but destruction is not the same as breach. Breach means to break through and enter, and that is where these defences prove themselves immortal. Their combination of terrain, structural ingenuity, psychological impact and sheer scale makes them unassailable without either unacceptable losses or indiscriminate destruction. Logistics remain the other factor. Building a Roman ramp at Masada took months with thousands of soldiers. Moving cannons against Constantinople required weeks of preparation and coordination. Even today, transporting heavy breaching equipment into a desert plateau or mountain gorge would remain a nightmare. Engineers might solve the puzzle on paper, but the cost in time, manpower and resources keeps these sites in the realm of effectively invincible. And finally, there is the issue of preservation. No modern nation would allow a serious assault on Petra, Sacsayhuaman, or the Great Wall for the sake of testing military might. These sites are priceless cultural treasures. In that sense, their defences remain undefeated because no one dares attempt their destruction. The legacy of these defences still influences us today. What we learn from these ancient defences is more than military trivia. They teach us about resilience, adaptability, and the clever use of resources. The concept of layered defence lives on in cybersecurity, where firewalls mimic the Theodosian principle of multiple barriers. The psychological shock of Greek fire finds echoes in modern deterrence strategies. Even the sticky rice mortar has inspired researchers developing eco-friendly building materials. These structures and tactics remind us that survival and defence are not only about overwhelming force. They are about ingenuity, patience, and designing with nature rather than against it. That is why centuries or even millennia later they still stand unconquered. So as we look back on these 9 defences that remain unbreached, the lesson is clear. The ancients knew things we are still trying to relearn. Their walls, fortresses and strategies echo across time, reminding us that human brilliance can outlast even the most powerful weapons. Which of these ancient defences do you think would give a modern army the hardest time? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this journey into history's strongest strongholds valuable, make sure to subscribe to the channel and share this video with others who love uncovering the hidden genius of the past.